everybody, and welcome to Dating Made Simple on the It's Just Dinner podcast. I'm Tom Robinson. I am the host, and sitting right directly across from me, you know him and you love him, Bob Walls.
Tom, it's so great to be here.
It is nice to be here.
It is great to be one of the almost all-knowing
what
dating
does she mean?
I don't know. That was kind of a slam,
Yeah,
I thought.
Almost all-knowing?
Almost. Well, it's actually quite accurate.
I think I'm all-knowing.
Well, I know you are because you're the host of the show. I'm just the co-host. I'm just here to make jokes and stuff.
You are you're the color man.
Yes, I am.
Well, did you notice who's sitting right next to you?
Yes, I did. Macy again.
On the podcast.
What a treat.
Again,
That's
guys.
the
People
great
are getting
Macy.
sick of me, I think. Maybe I don't need to actually do this.
No, the thing is, Macy and I were just talking here. She said, I could never be like a voice actress, but Macy has such an amazing voice. She does.
No,
No, she does. She has a character in her voice. You hear her voice and you think, wow, I want to hear more.
Yeah.
I can do a couple accents for you, but I
No,
cannot be the intro lady. That could not
could.
be me.
You could. Yes, you could. You've got it.
Well, you guys, we have a guest today.
Yes, we do.
In studio.
Yeah, right here in
Right
the big
here in
on the big
studio.
show.
We have Zach Whitlock.
Zach Whitlock.
Zach.
Welcome, Zach.
And guess how we know Zach?
Well, Zach is just not a regular guy.
He's not.
He's a big deal.
He's royalty.
Yes, he is. It's very
Zach-
rare that we have presidents here.
Zach is the student body president at Utah Valley University.
Wow, our sister school right across the street
Right
here.
down the road.
It's funny because we've got 30,000 students here, and then just right across down the road, we have another 30,000 plus students.
That's a lot
There's
of
like 60,000 people
potential
between
dates.
18. Yes.
Potential dinners.
Half of those are married, so let's not get too excited there. But yeah,
that's still 30,000.
Well, it's still amazing.
Well, Zach, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's good to have you. How long have you been the student body president at UVU?
I've been in it since May, but this is the first semester.
Oh, yeah.
How are things going at UVU?
Things are going great. Things are going amazing. We just had a big Midnight Madness kickoff.
Oh, for basketball?
Lots of events, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
You guys are actually pretty good in basketball, aren't
Yes.
We are.
You
yeah,
beat
we-
us.
You've
We
beat
yeah.
BYU.
Then you guys got afraid.
Maybe-
Stopped scheduling
Maybe
us.
we shouldn't have invited him.
No, we don't care. It's a fun rivalry. There's no hatred here.
It
We're
is
happy.
fun.
Your success is our success.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I thought that since UVU is right down the street,
Yeah.
I thought maybe it would be fun to kind of get Zach's
To
impression
pull them in here
of
on
the
what we're
dating
doing.
life over on the other side of the street.
Yes.
Zach knows a lot.
And see, Zach's a big dater.
Big dater.
Okay, well, good to
But
hear it.
you are the student body president. And
Well, of
we want
course
to
you'd
make
be a
sure
big dater,
your
being the
mom
student
won't
body
get upset
president
with you
and all.
saying something bad here. So, how is the dating at UVU?
The dating's good.
Yeah, not for you now, for the student body.
Okay, for the student body, it's hard to say, but I'd guess it could probably be better.
Yeah. Well, that's why
There's
we're
always
here.
a room for improvement.
Yeah.
There always is.
It's interesting. It's an interesting culture with like social media and dating apps, stuff like that.
Yeah. Are you on any dating apps?
I'm not.
You're
I
not.
used to be.
Don't need them.
You
I
said you
don't-
don't need to be.
I used to be. I don't really need to be, and I didn't really like being on it. I didn't like how it made me view
Yeah.
women.
See,
I respect that.
We are
Thanks.
very pro dating app.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
for
hey.
people who need them. You
But-
know, if you're the student body president, you
Yeah.
don't need a
Everyone
dating
knows
app.
you.
You know,
That's
just
true.
Well,
That's
it's
true.
true. My brother met his girlfriend on a dating app.
Yeah. Well, we
A
like
lot of people
We
need-
like them because we think you should meet someone on a dating app and then go out to dinner
Yeah.
and talk and get to know them. So it doesn't have to be a date, right, Bob?
It's exactly correct. So what we're pushing is relationship development. And we've kind of lost that for some reason in recent years, where people have a difficult time having conversations with people and getting to know them. And so I think because in our culture, there's such high pressure on getting married. And so that takes precedent over developing a relationship and getting to know someone, because so sometimes the first date becomes an intro to marriage. You know? Well, if things go well, would you consider marrying me? And so there's this big pressure on the first date. And so it makes it very awkward and difficult. And so a lot of people just say, I don't want to date.
Yeah,
because it's too awkward.
and we're trying to fix that.
We are. One
Because
episode at a time.
One
That's what
episode
we
at a
used to
time. So are
say.
you seeing that over at UVU? Is that a continued problem with some of the students over there?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It definitely is kind of the culture of like, well, it's like, I feel like there's two extremes. There's like either you are super focused on like marriage, or you're just looking for fun, like
Right.
have a little
So,
nickname.
but
Right.
we're trying to bring those somewhere in the middle here. So
yeah.
And so you do have those two cultures and that's the thing that you need to ascertain when you go out with somebody is to find out, are they just looking for a physical relationship, a one and done kind of thing? And that nationally has been the big reason that dating has declined, is because the assumption is that if you meet someone on a dating app that you're going to engage in sexual activity, and most people are not prepared for that.
Right.
Yeah, that's
or
too
want,
scary.
Or want that.
Or want that. And so they just choose not to participate. And so we've seen a decline not only nationally but internationally of people going on dates, which has a ripple effect, because if you don't date people and get to know people, it's hard to develop a relationship. If you don't develop a relationship, it's difficult to move into a committed relationship.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a domino effect. But if people would just listen to this podcast and listen to the sage advice from Macy.
Listen to you, Bob.
Well, not me. I'm just the co-host. I really have no part in this. Or listen to Tom. He's got all the knowledge. We could fix this problem.
Macy, what do you think? You see this as a continued problem?
I think it's definitely a problem. Like, in my social circle, I don't see it as much, but like in my ward and people that I meet around, they're not as social or whatnot. Like, they go to family home evening because it's the social event of the week.
Right.
And that's not my social event for the week, but that is theirs.
Right.
And so they just don't get out as much. They don't know how to have a conversation. I definitely have a couple interesting talks at those events. But it's really great. I get to meet new people, and I get to learn and the things that they like, and I get to practice conversating, and they get to practice
all
as well.
you guys, you ladies and gentlemen out there, you need to meet Macy.
Right.
And she'll teach you, so she can teach
agree.
you how to do this.
So you're opening the door here.
Not
Macy's
to go on a date with
We're going to have to have her in the witness protection program. The millions of listeners we have, if they're all trying to outmeet Macy, I mean, good heavens.
I'm trying to use Macy as an educational source.
So you need to meet the personification of a Macy.
Yes.
You need to meet as someone who is open to meeting new people and having conversations.
It's fun.
So Macy is now just a title. It's not an actual person.
The Macy.
So any of you who were trying to connect with Macy on this program, this is not what we do here.
No.
This isn't, we're not setting you up on
But
dates.
she can be a really valuable resource to us to help teach
That's what we're
young
saying
people
here.
how to do.
That's what we're
saying.
So
me and Zach have a lot of experience with dating.
Well, that's why Zach's here today.
And so it's interesting, Zach, we've talked about this many times for you and for Macy and for many other people. Dating, meeting new people is energizing, and you enjoy it. It's fun at many levels. But there are an increasingly large number of people who have such a great degree of fear. And so when the fear of asking someone out is overwhelming. And then the fear of going out is even more overwhelming. And then the anxiety and depression that comes when you don't do that is overwhelming. And so there's a lot going on here that you folks don't see who are in the dating culture, but there's a lot of people who just stay home alone from both of our universities. And so that is how we got into this podcast at the beginning, is because we saw that there were too many of the young single adults who were not interacting. And they would stay home and play video games, or they would stay home and watch movies or something.
Or even worse, get on the computer.
Well, yeah. And so we had some clinical psychologists who came on a few weeks ago, and they said that they see an increased number of people who suffer from anxiety and depression. And a lot of it is due to either fear of relationship or rejection from relationship. And so imagine you're living in Ohio, and you think if you move to Provo, there's 60,000 people your age there. You think you probably date a lot. So you move out here, and nobody asks you out. And so that you can see why that would cause anxiety and depression.
So how do we fix it, Zach?
Yeah, I think that it really just does come down to the individual and like their own personal mindset. One thing that's helped me, because there's been periods of my life where like I was going on like 3 dates a week and doing that stuff, and then there was other periods of my life where I wasn't going on dates for 3 months.
Right.
And I think that the fear of getting rejected is one of those things that it's like a muscle. You have to keep working at it. You have to put yourself in a position to be uncomfortable and talk to people and be okay getting rejected.
Yeah.
Because in reality, I mean, like when someone rejects you, there's nothing wrong with you, but you don't know what's going on with that person. Like it could be that they're talking to someone right now, or they're just not looking for a relationship right now. They're focused on work, or they're just not, you're just not their type. You know what I mean? And so, but the thing is, you are somebody's type. Somebody's gonna have time for you, and so it's just kind of like you're mining for some gold, and you gotta flip some rocks and be unsuccessful, and keep flipping rocks. Just because you didn't find it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
So how do we get people over at UVU to start listening to this podcast so we can fix that?
Oh, well, I mean, I can throw it up on the old story.
Now we're talking.
Zach, that was some great advice right there. I'm actually kind of curious. How are you getting yourself to go on 3 dates a week?
Oh man, I think that. So actually, that was when I had the dating apps. It was actually a lot easier.
Okay.
I think that for me, I was just really wanting to find somebody like my person, and so I was really actively pursuing them, and it was just fun. I just thought it was fun to meet new people. I enjoy it personally, and it wasn't sustainable. I did that for 1 semester, and I will say this.
Wow, that is a long time to go on 3 dates a week.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. But like the thing is, like after that, I ended up finding a girl where I was like, you know what, I think I like her the most. The only problem is when I found her, we went on a few dates, and it was hard to kind of read, and then eventually she friend zoned me, and that kind of ruined me, because I was like, what the heck, like I feel like I could go on a lot of dates with these girls, but it seemed like the one time I find a girl where I'm like, oh yeah, she's awesome.
That didn't work out.
It didn't work out. And it kind of led me to that phase of like, okay, I'm not going to go on dates. I heard a saying that kind of changed my mindset, and it was, if you chase, it's a parable.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wisdom of
Yeah. It's if you chase butterflies, they fly away. But if you build a nice little garden, then they come to you. And if they don't, then you have a nice little garden. Like you're happy in your garden, and you don't have to leave.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I know, right? So
Good.
that changed the way I looked at it, and I was like, okay, you're right. I'm in my garden building phase. Like I'm not gonna go out here on 3 dates a week. I'm not gonna do that stuff. I'm gonna focus on calling my grandma and like building those relationships that really matter. And I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna eat right, do good in school, put myself out there. That's when I decided to run for student body president.
Did you notice that what a smart guy.
Yes.
Did you notice he has said everything that like the professional dating coaches have said?
No, literally, I was
that,
thinking that.
It's like date, but then worry about yourself.
Yeah,
Fix yourself.
self-love.
Try to self-love, get better at yourself. And then the butterflies will come to you, and you'll have opportunities to meet them. But did you also remember in our podcast last week, Rihanna Milne said you should be dating 3 and 4 times a week? Do you remember her saying
she
that?
She did say that. You're right. Yeah.
So a professional dating coach. So you were on the right track there.
There we go. I'm off track now.
Well,
But how do you sustain that, though? Macy brings a good point, is how do you sustain that?
But I don't think that's necessarily off track. I think what he's saying is 100% correct. I think to restate what she said, not necessarily 3 dates a week, but at least 3 times a week where you meet a new person. And so that doesn't have to be a date, the official date, I'm asking you out.
Well, it's dinner.
It's dinner, or it's having a conversation, or it's going for a walk or something. And the more people have engagements with people where they have conversation and they get to know someone, the more comfortable they are with that.
Yeah.
And so that helps them to develop, like she said, to look for the compatibility that you have with that other person. It might not be what you thought, because a lot of times where the first thing men think is the attractive thing. And so she said in that you can't base your relationship just on looks, because there's so many other things that are, and you don't know that until you've had a conversation with someone.
So what was it that Rita Goodrow told us? She said, when you go out, if you feel a spark in one of 4 areas, and they were physical, intellectual, spiritual, or emotional. And if you feel a spark in any one of those, then you should go on a second date.
Right.
Because you have some kind of a connection.
There's something there.
And if you go and maybe then you have 1 or 2 or 3, then you kind of keep dating. But if those drop off, that's fine.
But I think if I can interpret what Zach is saying, is he's built his garden and he's got lots of butterflies coming.
Yeah, they're flying.
Oh, they're flocking.
I think this is the butterfly season.
He's a handsome guy.
Yes, and he's the student body president. Good heavens, and he's smart. He's got it all going. But there's a lot of people who have so much difficulty just doing those simple things.
Yeah.
So how do you get people to build their garden? How could we help them do that?
Yeah, well, honestly, because I've tried to help a lot of my friends do it, and that's the hard part. Is really, especially when you're going on lots of dates and putting yourself
Right.
out there, chasing the butterflies,
Right.
it's hard to kind of change your mindset and be like, oh, like, I'm okay being at home alone
Right.
if I'm working on myself, or
Right.
kind of like doing a hard stop. Obviously, this is a different demographic. Like, there are some people who are more comfy just staying at home
Right.
alone. But for those people who are like super actively pursuing butterflies, I think that it takes a period of like a mental fast.
Right.
Of like a complete fast where you're like gonna be wanting to go on dates, you're gonna be wanting to be social and meet new people, but you have to remove yourself from that to really be like, okay, I'm okay staying home and talking to my grandma.
Right.
That was like the point where it really turned for me.
Right.
Was when on a Friday night, rather than going out with my friends and like being social, I was like, no, like I'm gonna talk to my grandma. And it was almost like, because the thing is, like, you hear go on dates, but if you're driving a broken boat through the ocean, it's gonna not fix itself. And it's eventually gonna sink, right?
All right.
You need to take a couple days and get it fixed.
Fix
at
the
port.
boat.
Yeah, go get it fixed, and there's nothing wrong with that. And eventually, you'll be able to get to where you need to go. You'll probably get there faster.
Wow.
And in
The
one
wisdom
piece.
here.
I know. It sounds like we need to drop Zach's number at the end of the episode.
No, well, he's got enough butterflies, isn't it? So
Whoa.
here's my suggestion for you, Zach. While you're the student body president, you've got this platform. I think you should write a book. And I think the title of that book should be Chasing Butterflies.
You know what?
And I think you could take all this wisdom and you could put it into an article at first and then turn it into a book, and you'll become a multimillionaire.
Okay,
Chasing
deal.
Butterflies. It'll be
Chasing
on the top
Butterflies.
10, on the New York top 10
Right.
I'm in.
list.
I'll
love
buy
it.
it.
like it.
I'd buy
Very
it. I'd buy it.
If I have the time, I just got to find the time to do that.
Okay, well, we'll help you. Tom and I will help write it for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right
Perfect.
behind our It's Just Dinner book.
Well, just, maybe ahead of it. Just right ahead of it. But even if you wrote an article, do you guys still have a publication out there, a newspaper?
Yeah, we have a UVU review.
Okay, so see, you should write an article in the UVU review called Chasing Butterflies.
Yeah.
There
And
we
put
go.
this in it.
I wouldn't say, and make sure you cite the Dating Made Simple, It's Just Dinner podcast.
Well,
on
we'll
there.
give you
Deal.
a free coupon
Deal.
for dinner if you do that.
Give you some royalties.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, here, I thought something might be fun since Zach is here and we have Macy here.
Yes.
I found a really fun article called 26 Effective First Date Tips to Make a Great Impression.
Okay. So here's
So
what
Zach's got to
thought-
have a lot of wisdom on that. With
Well,
all
see, I
those
thought-
first dates he's been
I
on.
thought we'd find out if these tips are right.
Well, so what we want to hear from you is a yay or a nay. This is
On
we'll
these.
go through these 26 and you'll tell us, are these good or are these bad?
Deal.
Okay?
Okay,
26.
We'll go quick. We may not be able to get through all of
Okay,
them.
number
but
2, 3, 4.
We'll talk. These I thought these
gotta
would
be
be
fast.
fun. Okay, so the first one is do something different and fun. And they recommended things like the museum, escape room, or other recreational activities on that first date. Now, this is, by the way, I will mention, this is beyond the dinner. So you've gotten
Well,
to
of course
dinner,
it's
you've
beyond
talked,
dinner.
you've communicated. Now you want to go on a date. So now do
So
something
this
different
is
and
a
fun.
second date.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that the same. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of sick of those bowling dates. Like something different,
What?
right?
Something different.
Sick of bowling. What?
Well, like bowling is fun, but it's like the classic date. Like,
Really? See, I didn't even.
Yeah.
I was
It wouldn't
aware
be-
that that was a thing.
Should be movie. A movie is
No, not a
No.
movie.
used to be the
No.
classic
Not a
dates.
movie.
Yeah,
Movies
movies
not
are
fun.
bad.
No, okay, no bowling.
So
no
what do you think,
movie.
Zach? Go out and do some kind of different recreational activity.
Heck yeah. That's one of my favorite things, and is to do something, especially that makes both of you feel uncomfortable. One of the
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, like one of my favorite dates
Well, you
was
become vulnerable. Yeah.
You do. One of my favorite dates was karaoke, and it was like neither of us sang, and we just
Oh,
got
that's
up there,
fun.
and it was one of the funnest dates ever.
Yeah.
So
Now, again, going back to Rita Goodrow, do you remember where she did 35 dates in 35 days?
Yes, she did.
And she said she did so many things that she'd never done before, and it
Well,
was
the
so
thing
much
that's
fun.
interesting is those were all different to her.
Yeah.
You know, the date was a different person each time. It's not
But
like
the
they wanna-
activity. The
Yeah.
activity. I mean, she went and did a hot balloon ride.
Yeah.
And
Well, she had a big budget.
yeah, she
You know.
did. Well, she went
Wow.
out with really rich guys.
Yeah.
So.
She did.
All right. The second one is make it less about you and more about them.
Oh my goodness, Tom, I've been listening to How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Yeah. Oh,
And
great book. Great
it's like
book.
one of the main things in there is if you're talking to somebody, let them do the talking, ask them questions. And this applies so much to dating
Yeah.
because nobody wants to hear you talk their ear off, right? Just ask them questions and then they'll talk.
100%, I agree.
Yeah, and this article, it says men fall for women because of how these women make them feel about themselves.
Of course.
And so if you show an interest and you make it more about
So this is a
the
chapter
guy-
in Zach's book. It's called Focus on the Butterfly. By the time we're done here, Zach, I'm going to have this whole...
I love it. I got to start taking notes.
Okay.
Well, no, I'll give it to
This
you.
one
I
I'm
can
really
give it up.
interested in. I'm really interested in getting these guys' opinion on this.
Okay.
And this one is who pays?
Who? Oh. I think whoever asks,
You're
whoever
gonna
plans.
You're gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna make the butterfly pay.
No.
Oh.
Well, no. This is a hard thing for me because I feel like it's just a natural
Right.
instinct that I want to pay for it.
Right.
It's like a weird pride thing.
Mhm.
I want to pay.
So what if the girl says, "Hey, let's go half and half. I'll pay for mine, you pay for yours." You insulted by that?
I don't feel like. I mean, no. I just feel like that's not necessarily a date in my brain.
Okay.
But
Well,
maybe
but-
it is. I
but-
might be thinking wrong.
See, the thing is, I think that it would be awkward for a girl to ask a guy out and expect him to pay. And so I think that we're changing kind of our social norm where it's okay for girls to ask out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would put cold water on that if a girl asked you out and expected you to pay.
You'd be surprised at how often that happens.
See, that's not good.
Really?
Right? That's
Yeah.
that's
No,
going to go
it's-
in the book.
It's wild.
Yeah, but see that's awkward. Hey, take me out and buy me dinner, and so I think that a lot of girls would be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's more comfortable in today's world for a girl to say, "Hey, would you like to go out?" And then she either pays you each pay.
Yeah. Well, my treat.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
In some level, I think that that's acceptable now because before where we came to, it was the "I'll take care of you" thing, and so we've kind of moved away from that society where women make more than men do in many occasions, and so it's not necessarily I have to take care of you. You don't have money, you can't afford it. It's more of a social thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of up for grabs for me. I think girls should, if they ask out, I think they should be willing to at least pay
Well,
half.
how about we
I
ask
agree.
the woman sitting here?
I mean, if I take a guy on a date, I expect that I'm gonna pay.
That's what
I,
I'm.
There we
as-
go.
I'm
Yes,
not.
yes.
If they're gonna pay when they ask me, I'll pay
There.
when I ask them.
That's-
And what about
Um,
the splitting it half and half?
I've never split before because I kind of went with Zach on this that if you split it, it's not really a date. It's just like I don't know.
We're
It's
just
like a
hanging
hangout.
out,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like we're just.
And
It's
you know how
it's
anti-hang
non-committal.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, let me read one of the things from this article. It says, if the guy offers, it's because he wants to treat the girl to a good time. Besides, it's a first date, which I think is what you guys are saying.
Mm-hmm.
So girls, don't be offended by this if he wants to pay.
So would
He's
you be
trying,
offended?
He's
if-
trying to teach
would you be
treat
offended
you
if
nicely.
the guy
Like if
offered
I
to-
ask the guy and then they say I'll pay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll take that. Of
Oh,
course
I
I'll
like
take
that.
that. I'm like, well, I'll be like, of
Every
course I'll be
time.
like, no, I'll pay. And then there's always a little fight, and whoever's credit card gets there first, blah, blah, whatever, pays.
Well, that's fine.
And that's
Isn't it?
fine.
That's fine.
What goes
I'm not
through your
offended.
head? What goes through your head when that happens? Are you like impressed? You're like, oh, this is sweet of him trying to pay for.
Yes, I actually am. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, yeah,
Well, that's what
really
this
nice
says.
of
He's
him.
trying to
All
show
right.
you a good time.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
let him.
He
Let
care.
him.
He
Yeah.
cares about me.
Right.
Yeah. Even though I was the one that asked him. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, the next one. This one is come as yourself.
100%.
Don't. Yeah,
no,
we
I don't
were
think you
just
should come
talking
as
about
yourself.
this.
I think you should be 100% fake.
Just be totally fake,
No,
right?
no, no.
Yeah.
Well, this one says, before going on a first date, remember first and foremost that you're awesome just the way you are. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Fix
Just-
yourself.
you're
Feel
good.
confident about yourself. Right?
You got a beautiful garden.
But
Yeah.
Yes, you
Be
do
excited to
have a
show it
beautiful
off.
garden.
But I think that might be a little bit more challenging than a lot of people think because if you're really self-conscious and you're really nervous, there's a chance that you might not be yourself for a lot of different reasons. You might be trying to say things to impress someone because you feel you don't have the confidence that you really need, and you also might be because you're nervous, you'll say things that you really don't mean.
Right.
And that happens. Nervousness is really a terrible thing, isn't it? When we're nervous, we do things that we normally wouldn't do.
Normally. Now, let me tell you one of the things he says in this article, and I've never thought about this before, and it is you're going on a first date. If you're nervous, it says call a friend to help settle your nerves before you get there.
Before or like during.
Before.
While you're
Before.
on the date.
So you're
Excuse
going
me.
on the date.
Like,
you're
hold
like,
on, I'm really nervous right
you're
now. I need to
nervous.
make a call.
Either he's coming over to pick you up or you're going over to pick her up. Just call a friend and say, hey, I'm going on this date. I'm a little nervous. And have the friend calm you down. What do you think, Zach?
Oh yeah, I've done that so many
Have you?
times. Yeah, there was one time I went up to a girl's house and I was so scared I literally drove away. I like called my brother. I was like, "Help me out, man." He sent me a song. We talked through it. Drove around the block a couple more times. Then finally, I was like,
Wow.
"Okay, I
So,
can do
great
this."
advice there.
were you-
Wow, why
were
are you
you-
so nervous? Who was this girl?
Yeah,
It's because
no.
the dad was going to open the door. And see,
Yeah.
back in our day, you when you called a girl on the phone, you had to talk to the dad first because
Yeah.
there was only one phone in the. And so talk about fear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're not only calling the girl, but you have to talk to the dad or the mom first. And a lot of times, dads were mean.
Yeah.
You'd come and pick a girl up, and the dad would sit down and question you about what your future was and where you were going to go. And
They like have the shotgun in their hand.
So, okay, I want to try this one, see what you guys think. This one is, don't be afraid to tease him. And it says, don't be afraid to poke fun at them and joke around with them a little bit. So studies have shown using humor in conversation makes a person appear more likable, and telling jokes can bring a sense of calm to the conversation during the flirting process.
I like if a guy is like a comedian, I'm literally like at their feet. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, please like me. Like that is what I like love is when
Now,
a
are you
guy is
okay
super
poking
funny.
fun at the guy a little bit?
Oh
And-
yeah, totally.
Now, you can overdo it, right?
There is definitely
Yeah.
there definitely is.
But what do you think,
line.
Zach? Girl kind of pokes a little fun
Oh,
at you,
yeah.
and you laugh a little bit. Is that a good
Yes,
thing?
that's how you can tell like the chemistry. Like if you can't joke around with each other, it's not gonna be fun. You gotta laugh.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about humor and how humor breaks down all those nerves and kind of makes the conversation go a little bit better.
But I think there's a separation here between joking and put downs.
Yes.
Oh, this says tease.
Yeah, so teasing and put downs, that's a different thing. So there's some people who try to maintain control by putting the other person down. I think that's a big red flag.
Huge.
I would agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, you
definitely
don't
a
wanna
line.
do that.
Like, hi, you're ugly. Your outfit looks ugly. Like,
Yeah. like,
okay, that's
Take
not-
me home right now.
Yeah.
Dropping
Well,
you off.
and we talk all the time about being kind. That's just not kind.
Yeah.
But
No.
poking fun, teasing, I think that's a really good thing. All right, you ready for this next one?
I'm ready.
Let's see what you think. This says, you're going on a first date. This says, look them up. That means check out their Instagram, check out their Facebook, and then check out who they are. What do you think?
I do it. I just like it for the peace of mind.
Yeah.
I like having an idea of who I'm gonna go see.
Well, and this says so you can find things that you might have in common. That you'll
Oh,
have potential
that's
conversations
No, that's
about.
actually really great. That's another thing from the good How to Make Friends and Influence People. They say if you're going to like meet someone for business, you need to like look up what they did in their life, what their hobbies, so you can have something to like talk about with them.
Right.
But I also think when you look them up, if people know them, like ask your friends, whoa, what are your thoughts on this person? Like,
Yeah.
kind of have like someone vet them before you go.
Now, do you do
if
this?
you know them.
Do you do this? Do you look a guy up and check out his Instagram, see what kind of things he's posting?
I will if I like don't really know them that
Yeah.
well.
It's always good to do a criminal background check and check, check out how much money they have and their debt, ratio to the income ratio.
How many times they've been arrested?
It's always good to know that.
Yeah, that's true. I would hope I would never go with a criminal. That's a goal of mine, actually. I probably would hope to never go on a date with a criminal.
How would you know?
Okay, how about this? Check your body language.
Check your body language.
Yeah, consider how your body language might help to make the experience more enjoyable or at least less awkward. Now, they have a quote here by Thomas Edwards, who's the founder of Professional Wingman. And he says to help body language, you should do what he calls an acronym SOLD, S-O-L-D. Smile, open body language, leaning, and direction.
This is very
I'm
deep.
like, what does this mean?
Yeah,
What does body direction mean?
So what direction are you leaning?
Well, open body language, what? Is like opening yourself up. So
Oh,
that somebody
maybe
feels
that's like-
comfortable to talk to you, right?
Well, I guess
And
if
then
you had-
leaning is just leaning in, because
Well,
if someone's
we
leaning
know-
into you, they're
we know
showing a
that
little bit
from-
of interest.
So, I guess if you have your arms folded or your hands in your pockets
You're-
or something,
you're tight.
You're tight.
Right.
You're not open.
But opening up is just relaxing, sitting
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah. Have you guys read 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson?
Oh,
No.
yes.
Okay, well he talks about crabs and like just having your posture, like
Right.
it affects everything. It literally releases these things inside your body that make you more confident.
Right.
And so like that's something that helps me. Or even like doing a power pose, it just,
Zach in front of the door before you open
yeah.
doors,
You do
power
that.
posing.
I'm the man. I'm gonna crush this day.
You do
like,
that Batman one where you kind of go down like
Well,
that.
yeah,
But
it
even
helps.
crossing your legs or owning the room, taking up space in the room, it shows confidence.
Well, and it also
And
opens
that's
up
what I think
for
with Jordan.
conversation.
Well,
you're
Jordan, I
telling
think-
your date, hey,
Yes.
I'm okay
Well,
with
and I'm confident with myself, and I think that both men and women appreciate confidence in their dating partner. And so when you
Totally.
present yourself in a way that shows confidence, I think that's what he's meaning by that. I think the leaning means that if you lean into someone, it shows that you're interested in them. As far as
Right.
leaning.
And then he
leaning
says the
away.
D is direction, and that means that I move and I'm directed at you. I'm not looking somewhere else or moving my body in another
Okay,
direction.
here's a little rule I'm going to throw in this that I learned a long time ago. When you go to a restaurant, which side of the table you decide to sit in? So you've got a table here, it's for two. Where do you sit and where does she sit? And I went to this, it was a dating coach one time talking about this, said when you take a woman on a date, you should sit so that she sees the whole restaurant behind her, so that she can enjoy the full view of the restaurant. And you're facing the wall and her. So that you're just totally focused on her, and she's enjoying the full bouquet of the entire experience.
Zach, what do you think of that?
See, I don't think I've done that.
You are now.
But I
will now.
I will now. I think for me, my mindset was like, okay, like this is for safety, you know.
Yeah.
Like, plus, I heard that like if she's closer
For
to the door,
safety.
yeah, you know, someone comes in, I'll go pounce on them real quick, or like. But I also heard it was actually my mission president when he was doing interviews. He said to sit on the other side of the desk and have the girl closer to the door so she feels like she can like leave if she wants to. But that makes sense.
Safety
though.
is always a concern.
Because definitely I'm like a golden retriever, so it helps me focus in on the girl when it's just her and the wall. Like
and so don't have the TV in the background with the game on.
Yes.
Yeah,
Biggest
I've
rule.
fallen into that one a few times.
So she's
With
asking
the
you
ball
questions
game's
and you're
on.
like, oh.
Yeah.
All right, how about this one? Keep your hands to yourself.
Oh, please. The only reason I say that is because I went on a first date. It was like a year ago. And I probably got thigh grabbed like 40 times. I was like, this is our first date. I was like, okay, it's fine if you do that. Like, we're like a little closer or like that. But this is our first date. I was like,
is it like in the car?
Yes, in the car.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was like, this is kind of ridiculous.
So what's the message there? What, just in your own mind, what are you thinking about this guy?
Like, you're really touchy. Like, if this is a first date, like, if you're really touchy, then like, what is it? Like, where is it gonna go in like one more date? Like,
right. So that's what the message is, guys. That's what they're thinking is, whoa, this is a first date.
Scary.
Back off.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine if you're like flirty or a little touchy or whatever, but like that was excessive.
Yeah. No, you gotta throw out the little feelers every once in a while, like a little arm tap, stuff like that.
Or what about if you're like she's going through the doors and touching on the small of the back as you go into the door?
I usually don't do that.
No.
I actually really like that.
Oh.
But I don't know.
I'll do it now. There we go.
Not overly doing it, but just a light touch on the back as she walks in the door.
Maybe a girl's different, and that could be like, you know, maybe not first date necessarily, maybe like second date. I don't know. Maybe every girl's a little different on that one, but I like it.
So here's the chapter for your book, Zach. Let the butterfly land on you.
We're writing the whole book for you.
You're a mastermind. This is incredible.
This is what I do.
I love this.
There you go. You got you all set here.
Okay, as an advertiser here, I'm really interested in this one. This was don't use a coupon. Now, see, I'm an advertiser, and I think everyone should use coupons because it's free money and it's advertising. But on a first date, what do you think, Macy? I pull out a coupon and get $10 off, or I get some money off on this date.
This one's hard because I've had this happen to me before, and initially my reaction was kind of like, oh, so the only reason you want to go here is because you had like a coupon. But then I was also like, we're all broke. Like, of course, like someone would want to save money. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if I have a good answer on this one.
He's very responsible.
Yeah, he's good with his money.
He's good with his money. Then, like, in some sense, it's kind of like, but also, like, it's totally fine. Maybe it's more of a personal issue, and I just be like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from my perspective, that's like, I've always been too afraid to use a
pull out.
Good
coupon.
for you. Good for you.
Because I'm just like, you know, like, I don't want it to be a thing. I don't want it to distract from the date. So I'm like, I won't. But at the same time, I'm like, well, it could be a good test, you know? If she's not okay with me using a coupon,
there you go.
Then, like,
there you go.
Maybe she's just not the one for me. She's not the one with coupons.
Zach's like, you really should get over that.
So there's a fine line between cheap and frugal.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that, you know, so you might be trying to indicate that you're frugal, that you're good with money, but it comes across as that you're cheap. And so I think that's a little scary.
Yeah.
So that's why when we talked about doing this, that we would have the coupon on the phone so that when you went to pay, you just flash it there, and it would be so that you wouldn't have to say, "Oh, I've got a coupon for that." You know,
my starving
paper
student
coupon.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It would automatically be triggered. So see, we're thinking of that too.
Okay,
we're solving the problem, the dysfunctional dating, one episode at a time.
All right, Macy and Zach, how about this one? Don't talk about your ex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading. What was I listening to? I don't remember. I listened to a lot of things. They were like, "Yeah, do not bring up your ex at all. Like, there's no reason."
What's the message, Zach? If she's sitting there talking about her ex the whole time, what are you thinking?
I'm like, dang, she still thinks about her ex. Like, what's the point of me being here?
She's still into him.
Yeah,
She hasn't got over him yet.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that obviously, like later on in the relationship, like
Well, you
sure,
gotta,
like,
you have to
talk about
dissect it a little bit.
But no, there's no need. The purpose of the first date really is just to see if you want to go on a second date.
That's it.
It's basically it.
Yeah, get to know somebody and see if you have anything in common and see if there's a reason to go out again.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? Turn the phone off.
Yeah, I actually went on a date last night, and I accidentally forgot my phone at my house.
Was on. Oh, you left it at home.
I left it at home, and which is I didn't need it. I was
dangerous.
like, dangerous.
It could be dangerous.
You're right. Well, it was a double date, and I knew everybody
okay,
on the
okay,
date. So it was
Right.
fine. But I was like, I didn't need it at all. Like, there was no point. It was like having it turned off.
Well, have you had that happen before? Like when you're sitting at dinner and all of a sudden he or she pulls out their phone and they start texting, and they're not paying attention to you. I mean, not only is that rude, but you're clearly sending out a message, right?
Yeah. And there's really no need for it, honestly. Yeah, turn it off.
And we hear this all the time, right, Bob? That people go on dates and the person pulls out their phone. And I think you're right. It's a first date. You're trying to decide if you want to go out with the person again. And I think, okay, I've learned what I need to learn.
Yeah. No. Exactly.
Zach, have you had experiences taking girls on dates where they like bring their phone out a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like often, but yeah, and it definitely does kind of kill the vibe. It's like, all right, I'm gonna stop trying as hard because obviously they're not invested, so it makes me not want to invest as much.
There's something else going on more important than this conversation. Yeah, it's bad. Okay, how about this one? And I know what your answer is going to be to this, but it says don't badmouth other people in front of your date.
Oh, 100%.
It says
100%.
it's a giant red flag.
Yeah.
That your date-
Giant. There's a giant.
Giant. Well, we talk about being kind all the time, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is like if they talk bad about other people, have you read How to Avoid Falling in Love with a Jerk?
No.
Oh, my roommate has that book.
It's
I
a
didn't
good
read
one.
it.
It's a good one. My mom made me read it. But
Sounds like a good mom.
She's
So that
great.
you're not that person, or so you don't fall in love with this
both. Yeah, but that's one thing that it talks about is the way that they treat the worst person in their lives is eventually how they're going to treat you.
Yeah.
So if they're talking trash on someone, they're going to eventually be talking trash on you.
Yeah, was it Rihanna who said last week, she was like, after 90 days, then you're going to see their true colors.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Everyone's got a good face the first 90 days.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Totally.
Well, and then this also adds don't talk badly about your family members,
Oh, yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
along the same lines.
no, I think how you treat your family, exactly what Zach was saying, is that they're going to treat you like that. And so if they don't have a great relationship or they trauma, like we're talking about with the other people
Right.
that have come on the podcast, then they're going to treat you the same because that's like how they've been taught. And then it's the relationship that they've created.
Eventually you become the mom, or you become that person. They're going to treat you just like
Or
they-
the victim.
or their brothers and sisters, or
Yeah.
So
No, it's true. I would also say like trust your gut too, because like I've definitely got into like relationships where there were some red flags within their family, and I was kind of like, oh, it's just like a red flag. Like this person's fine, but then as you started to date more, it was like, oh dang, like, and eventually it didn't work out because of things that happened within the family. So
Oh, interesting.
The family's it's super important to know how they feel about that.
Okay, I have two more. This one says don't be afraid to reveal information about yourself.
bad idea.
If you don't want to go on another date with someone, make sure you tell them nothing about yourself.
Yeah, see, I think that's I don't know
That's
about
what
that.
they said.
What? How do you go on a date and not tell them anything about
Yeah.
yourself? You're supposed to sit there in silence?
Well, no,
like, what?
I think
Well,
what
it's
they're-
that closed up
I-
kind of attitude.
I think the way this is worded, meaning that if you don't tell them something about yourself, you're likely not going to go on a second date.
That's what this says. If you don't want to go on a second date.
Right, but I think the concept is it's kind of difficult because the last thing you want to do is sit down and have someone say, "Well, I suffered from depression for many years."
Well,
As a
there's
child,
that line of too much.
Yeah, you
information.
give too much information and all your background about yourself, and you scare people off because you're given too much. But on the other side, certainly you want to share some things about yourself, your likes, your dislikes, and where you're from and things like that. But getting too much in the detail, we've seen that too much before, where people try to push the relationship too quickly by sharing too much private information.
Right.
Here's a question for you. So on a first date, the point of it is to get to know the person, and it's kind of the same questions over and over again. And my roommates are like, I just had another first date. We talked about the same 5 things. And how do you make a first date not the same?
Well, here you go. I'm going to read this. Invite her to do something you know a lot about and are passionate about, like a baseball game or a concert, and then you'll have a lot to say about it. So then you go somewhere that you feel comfortable with, and then you can talk about that and be able to share through that.
Okay.
A baseball game, by the way, a huge baseball fan, but during a baseball game, there's a lot of time to talk.
Those will look you too long.
And then you have like something really excited, then you can sit and talk more. So I think that might be something, is that you go somewhere that you feel confident with, then you have a lot more to talk about.
That's fair.
Zach, how do you answer that question?
No, I think similarly. I think that you do something that's like a similar activity, maybe different location every time, but just so you don't have to stress about what you're doing. Like on the date, you can focus more on them, but also like make it different enough. Like for example, like I like to do painting on dates. I just think that's the funnest time ever. Like you paint, you talk. You can go to a cool location, it looks beautiful, and it's just like a nice little moment, you know? But the thing is I'd never go to the same spot twice, just because I want to have different conversations.
Right.
Because if you do get into the habit of doing the same things, talking about the same things, asking the same questions, it gets so exhausting.
Right.
But if you go somewhere new, you're both exploring this new area.
Very interesting.
About that area.
That's really smart.
So here's the tip that I give my students. I actually teach this in my journalism students when they do interviews. The difference between an interrogation and an interview. Well, one is a conversation, and the other is an interrogation. So if you have a list of questions, what's your favorite color? Where are you from? That's an interrogation.
It is.
But to make it a conversation, your second question has to be based on their first answer. And so if I ask you, what is your favorite food? And you say... Brisket.
Actually, it's sushi.
Which is it, brisket or sushi?
It's sushi and
because those are very different.
They are very different.
You can't eat brisket raw.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you can. It's called cowboy sushi. Are you into that?
Oh, no, what? No.
So where's your favorite sushi restaurant?
It's in Arizona, but sushi I tried is actually really good. If anyone's been there,
you should never eat fresh seafood from something that doesn't border an ocean. Arizona's a long way away
from the ocean. I'm sorry.
You can get really sick eating raw fish.
But you see how this conversation goes.
But that was a conversation that we just had.
See, that was not the regular, because now you're not getting at the same 5 questions, because I have no idea where this conversation is going to go.
Right.
And so my questions are based totally. Your roommates are not going to come home and say, "Oh, we asked the same 5 questions." They're going to say, "Wow, it was a really fun conversation."
He asked about me,
and I never knew that you should not eat sushi from Arizona.
Bob, you're gonna have to come.
They fly it in fresh. They fly it in fresh.
Yeah, they fly it in fresh.
You're fine. You're fine.
That was incredible.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
But that's in journalism we do that because that's how you make a conversation when you interview someone, and it's really the same thing here. And that what that forces you to do is listen to what they say. So a lot of times you're not listening because you're so worried about what your next question is going to be that they say, "What's your favorite food?" And then they say something you don't even remember what it was. Okay, where are you from? And so you're going through your list in your mind of safe questions to ask.
All right. Okay. Last one, really quick. Let it go. If this one says, if it doesn't work out, let it go.
That one's hard.
Yeah.
That one's hard.
Just
but yeah.
let it go.
It's
Say
tough.
goodbye.
It's like a stab to the heart,
Yeah.
It does. It hurts. But in the long run, it'll be good.
All right.
You gotta just,
there's that saying, I think one of my friends says, he's like, if it's not this person, it's going to be somebody better.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be someone. So it's just
what?
It's okay.
It's
move on.
It's just a first date.
Yeah.
Well, there's another butterfly out there for you.
There's a lot of
Go back
butterflies
to your
out there.
garden.
There's the final chapter. The final chapter of the book.
Well, this has been really fun.
There's another butterfly out there.
Zach Whitlock, student body president at Utah Valley University.
Future best-selling author.
Yeah.
Future.
With your help.
This has been fantastic. Will you come back again?
Oh, I'd love to.
Yeah, this is really fun. You've given, such wise wisdom.
I know, Zach.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I really like this. This is fun.
Right. I see why the students voted for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, thank you.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
we're anxious to hear a little bit more about how the It's Just Dinner podcast is changing things over at Utah Valley
spread the word.
University.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you, Macy. Thank you, Bob.
Of course.
This was really fun.
Pleasure, as always.
And you guys make sure you follow us on this podcast. Listen, follow, like, make comments. We'd love to hear from you. You can also find us on Instagram. Be sure to leave comments, DM us, ask questions. And then also, you can email us at the It's Just Dinner podcast. And so, guys, thanks for being here. Look, all we're trying to do is make dating simple, you guys. Lots of great advice today. And listen, more than anything, just go have fun out there, would you?